What's up, guys? I am super excited to start our new series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. I think it's going to be an awesome series. It's going to help us through this time as a nation. There was so much stuff going on and how to help with our feelings, but we're going to dive right into it. First off, do you ever feel like you're living in two totally different worlds? There's your life, like in the actual world, where you're at school with your friends, whether you're in the band or playing sports or whatever it is. And then there's your home life, okay? And it's, although we probably don't want to admit it, but isn't it kind of true that we're way weirder at home? Me, for instance, I don't know, believe I'm going to admit this, but I am a sci-fi geek. And not like the cool sci-fi geek, like where you like Star Wars and that kind of stuff. No. I mean, I like that stuff too, but I really like Stargate. Okay? Yeah, Stargate. That's on Sci-Fi Channel, and it's been off the air for years now, but I have seen every single episode. All right, Stargate SG-1, 10 seasons, and I think like 4 movies. Well, of course, there's the original movie, so you got to check it out. The storyline changes a little bit. Yeah, I can geek out on that really hard because there's some follow-up series as well, Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe, which ended halfway through the first season. So you don't know what happened, and it's just, see, we can geek out on that pretty quick. Now, I normally don't talk about that out in public, and that's not something I share because that's just not. That's my home. Okay, that's where I'm still. If there's nothing on TV, I will turn on Stargate and watch those. I've watched all of those series at least twice. So, but it's kind of one of those things. I don't really do that at home. The music I listen to is different at home than when you're out. It's like when you're jamming in your car, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. You're singing along. And as a parent, you catch yourself listening to your kids' music when they're not there. Scary moment. But anyway, now, hold on. Before you judge me too much, I want to know, or I want to let you know that I know this one piece of pertinent information. You are the same way too, okay? We are all like this. We all act differently when we're home in a way that we would never act out in public. Not only are we weirder at home, but most of us are a little bit more difficult to deal with. And think about it. Before you back off, think about it. You would never leave your nasty gym socks on the stairs at your friend's house. But you don't think twice about doing it at your own. You would never talk to your coach the way that you talk to your stepmom. You would never be as mean to a teammate as you are to your brother. And you would probably never go off quite as quickly on somebody outside of your house or anybody outside of your house as you do the people in your house. But how is this possible? More importantly, why is this? Why do we act like two totally different people depending upon where we are? There's a lot of reasons for this, but I think one of them, the main reasons for me, is that I think of my home as my world, and everybody else is just living in it, okay? You know what I mean? Maybe we don't say it out loud, but think about it. When we walk in the door, we wonder if dinner is something that we like. We complain about going to our siblings' concert because we had other plans. It's our world, and we want it to be our way because it's our world. But that's not necessarily true everywhere else. Most of us wouldn't go to our friend's house and to have dinner with them and say, "Oh, I hate lasagna." First off, why would you hate lasagna unless there's those weird people that put those huge chunks of vegetables in it? Come on, it's lasagna. Don't try to make it healthy. It's lasagna. There's no making this healthy. But anyway, you don't just say, "Oh, I hate that." Well, how would you make that to their mom? Yeah, no, you don't. You don't say that. You sit there and politely eat it and go, "That's fine, thank you. Would you like seconds?" "No, thank you. I am stuffed." Those kind of things. We would never tell our coach, or at least we shouldn't, tell our coach, "Hey, I'm not going to make it to the game. I had other plans." You know, even if we know that we can get attitude, we can get a little attitude with people at school, we would never go to the level that we would at home. For some of us, it feels like it's the only place that we can be the realest self. We can be our true self, the realest version of ourselves. The people we live with will, and hopefully, still love us even when we're being ridiculous. But at the same time, we tend not to just be the realest version of ourselves, but the worst version of ourselves. No matter what's happening, we tend to ask ourselves this question: how does this affect me? Okay, and that's not a horrible consideration. But when that's your primary question, I mean, think about it. How everything we say or do at home is can be in a response to that question of how it affects me. Maybe you say, if you happen to be a vegetarian and your family loves hamburgers and you go to a burger joint, instead of just ordering something, you eat your black bean burger and complain to them the entire time that red meat's going to kill them, which is what every vegetarian does when someone's enjoying a nice juicy steak or something like that, which, steak. But it's one of those things that they tend to do. They get hangry. Okay, I want to just tell them maybe you need to eat some protein. Anyway, I don't get to go out with my friends because I'm stuck babysitting my little sister. How does it affect me? Well, I don't think it's fair, so I'm going to give my parents some attitude the entire time. Okay, so I'm just going to let them have it. And I, here's another one. Like you spend all this time studying, you really worked hard for this test. Your sister doesn't study at all. She's spending all night on TikTok. She takes the same test and she got a better grade. She doesn't deserve that A. So I'm annoyed with her, and I'm going to treat her that way. Okay. See, I don't. What I think is, I don't think a lot of us realize how bad we are, and think about our lives as much when we're at home, and how much the question, how does this affect me, has permeated every bit of our lives at home. And it changes the vibe, the attitude in our house. As we respond to how things are affecting us, the people in our house are responding to how we are affecting them. Okay, then we respond to that. So it just keeps continuing on. And most of us don't realize that we are playing a key role in the general feeling in our house. Is this always true? No, but for some of us, we know that we're at least part of the cycle of tension where we live. All right. So the question is, what do we do about it? How do we actually make some things? What do we do when things are tough at home? When the mood is off? When you know that you're part of the reason that things are tense, but you have no idea what to do about it. Now listen, you don't need to tell me that family is hard, okay? I understand family is hard. I'm the youngest of 5. We're a blended family, and there's drama that goes with that. There's drama that goes with just having that many people growing up together. Your family situation, it might be a little bit peculiar, but it's not unique to you. The problems that we have in our families is not unique to you. They've been going on for thousands of years. In fact, one of the things I love most about the real events in the Bible is how it gives us a real look of things that happened then that are still going on today. And we're going to spend the next few weeks talking about Joseph. Joseph was one of the most famous people in the first half of the Bible. So he's the guy. He's a guy just like us, found himself in all kinds of situations where he didn't really know what to do in that moment. Joseph's story is wild. Okay, it is as much, if not more, dramatic than any Netflix show that you have ever seen. There are murder plots. He's sold into slavery. He's unfairly put in jail. Because the story twists and turns, and everywhere we go, and the drama doesn't stop the entire time. But we'll get into that in the next few weeks. But it all starts with the drama at home and with his family. Okay, so in Genesis 37, we read about how, and I recommend reading that, okay, because there's a lot of different people involved as we go through. So go ahead and familiarize yourself with that scripture. Go ahead and read Genesis 37. Read about the life of Joseph and some of the stuff going on with his family. But we read that how Jacob, his father, made a special robe for Joseph. Now, this was, a multicolored robe. This was a physical reminder of how much his dad loved him more. That's not a good thing to start with, okay? I love you more. Here's a special coat. And his brothers despised him for that. Now, here's the deal. You're like, he gave him a nice jacket. So what? Well, basically, it's like he gave his son a new pair of Jordans and gave his his other sons Walmart shoes. There's nothing wrong with Walmart shoes, but if the option is Walmart shoes or Jordans, I'm gonna pick Jordans. And Nikes don't even fit me very well, but I'm still gonna pick Jordans over Walmart shoes. Now I have some Walmart shoes and they're great for what they're intended, but I want some good shoes. But it's a big deal. And that wasn't the only issue, okay? It went on from there. The tension got deeper, okay? In Genesis 37, starting at verse 6, he, being Joseph, said to his brothers, listen to this dream that I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright. Weird. While your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. This isn't just a normal dream, and his brothers knew it. This dream wasn't about the grain. If it was about the grain, no big deal. You go, dude, that's weird, and go on. It was about power. And Joseph was sending a message through, by telling this dream. He was saying, hey guys, listen to this. I think that, I know because I had this vision, okay? We say dream, but it's actually a vision. That I'm going to be more powerful than you that one day. And when that day comes, you're going to worship me for it. So for a younger brother to say that today wouldn't go over very well. Back then, even a bigger deal. So this wasn't going to go on. So the passage went on to say this. His brothers said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. All right, they didn't like him to begin with, and then he throws that on top of it, and now the scripture's clear. They hated him, okay? They hated him. So, you'd think you'd stop there. No, he didn't stop there. The vibe was harsh enough about the robe, and then we got the dreams, and then Joseph had another dream involving the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down to him. And the message this time was even more so because it involved his parents bowing down to him too. So not the best move at that moment because there's already the tension level pretty high and he added on to it, okay? Can you imagine the tension in this family? One dad, 4 moms, and a dozen boys. Okay, I'm about to have my 3rd boy, and I'm kind of going a little nervous on boy number 3, but a dozen boys, 12 boys. What? And 4 moms. So anyway, my wife is amazing. 4 moms, okay? So there's a lot of tension just to begin with in one household. And then we have the coat. And then we have the dream number 1. And then we have dream number 2 where it says the parents are going to bow down to him too. Because the tension here has got to be crazy. And the favorite son, who's already the favorite, goes around telling everyone about the visions. My question is, why are you doing this? Okay? You're supposed to be somewhat smart. Why are you doing this? Why are you saying these things? Hold these things in your heart, okay? But, but what Joseph wasn't acting this way. He wasn't acting in a way that he considered any of that. Joseph was behaving like a lot of us do. He was hyper aware of how we're being treated and not really aware of how this is affecting anyone else. Joseph's family was the same way. All of Joseph's brothers could see how the whole situation affected them. The unfairness, the injustice. I mean, Joseph receiving his robe, this gift is like getting a brand new car when he turns 16 while everybody else is stuck driving the minivan, okay, and sharing the minivan. And they saw it and they knew it wasn't right and they hated it, okay? The truth is that even these few verses, even though these few verses are about more than some strange dreams and a coat, it's about how this tension in the family was never truly dealt with. The tension was let to grow. And we're still reading this story for that reason. Why are we still reading it? One, to show us family has always been super complicated, okay? I know some complicated families. I'm a blended family. There's 5 of us all together. That's complicated in and of itself. I know some that are a lot more complicated. Now, I'm not 4 moms and 12 sons complicated, because that'd be nuts. But to teach us how to pay attention to our actions and even our situations and how they affect the people that we live with. 3 is to remind us that tension left unresolved doesn't just go away. Okay, will always escalate to something bigger. Next week, we're going to talk about how that escalation happened and it become basically the equivalent of a biblical dumpster fire situation. So we're going to talk about it. But until then, what could everyone in the family have done differently? First off, I think Joseph could have started to see himself as part of the problem, as one person in a large family and not the center of it. Okay, he's not the center of the situation. He's just part of the family. Dad could have realized that how this favoritism was affecting everybody else, and the brothers could have chilled out a little bit on the grudges, the gossip about Joseph, and everybody could have ignored the dreams and not allowed their own insecurities to control them. Now, the point of this story isn't Joseph's family drama. All right, Joseph's family drama isn't all that different from our own. It's still going on today. Whether you're the favorite one, the angry one, the firstborn, the lastborn, the quiet one, the gold medal award-winning door slammer, the truth is the same. You play a role in your family. Pay attention to how your words and your actions contribute to the tone, the temperature of your house. Are you improving it, or are you making it more tense? Then decide what you want your role to be from then on. In other words, pay attention to how you affect your family. Pay attention to how you affect your family. And then choose how you'll treat them. If you aren't sure where to begin, take a look at what this passage that Paul wrote to the church in Philippi. In some ways, these people were basically like a large family. They're trying to figure out how to live together. So in the letter, Paul writes this. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 through 8. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you into the interest of others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Paul's basically saying, look, Jesus set the example here. He gave up the privileges that came with being God. He deserved to be treated like God. Even when, and he treated everyone he chose to serve and treat everyone with compassion, and serve others, even when they didn't deserve it at all. And Paul is reminding us and reminding this church here to be that kind of person to those that are around us. So the $1 million question is this. How do we do that when we don't know what to do at our house? Okay, one thing we need to do is we need to start paying attention to how we see ourselves. We look in the mirror, we see how we see ourselves. Do we act like we're better than the people who are in our house or in our family? Maybe. Is that accurate? Probably not. You're not better. You might be better at something, but you're not better. So what would it look like if we were to treat our siblings or our step siblings or our step parents or cousins, adults, everyone in that house as equals, okay? Or maybe even more important than ourselves, and how that would shift the dynamic a little bit. And another thing is, maybe the hardest of all, we need to invite someone else to look at us and talk to us about how we treat our family. Honestly, it's nearly impossible to see clearly the role that we play in our family, but others around us can see it. And by asking them to help us to see ourselves and our roles in our families, we can step back. They're able to step back and look at it and give kind of a 20/20 vision about that. In fact, asking someone older and wiser is one of the best things you can do when you don't know what to do. And by the way, this is why we do small groups, okay? We all need people around us, older than us, like a leader, who can know what's really going on in our families, to help us figure out what to do when we don't know what to do. Now, I want you to imagine for a second if everybody in your family did this. What if everyone paid attention to how they affect everyone else? What would it look like, or what would it do to your relationships if people would act like that in your house? What would it do for the general level of tension or peace in your house? And what if it started with you? Because it can.